Good morning. My name is Steve Schroeder with Smart Community Technologies, and we're going to go really fast. This is going to be a different type of a presentation because I am not going to spend the time that I would really like to spend on each of the different slides. I'm just going to run through it really quick, each single one, bring out maybe one key point or two key points, but it really needs you to go back and look at that later because this means hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe even more, depending upon what kind of business you have in revenue that you are missing. Plus, you're spending thousands of dollars a month too much to get these less results. Everybody's running around here with a net. Now, a lot of people don't want you to know what I am about to share with you here because it means much lower commissions for them, but it means much higher revenue and much lower expense for you. So you're going to hear the truth here. It is definitely worth it to get a pen, take some notes, and just jot this down. And I'm going to just shoot through it so that you look at the slides, but then I really want to talk to you later about it. So let's go real quick and get this done. So on this slide here, the only thing I really want you to look at is that the majority do not have this capability. This is massive data that's going on. It's at the individual level, and the definitions of all of this stuff will be discussed. But what is unstructured data? And that's emails, tweets, and electronic documents, and web page visits, and all these different phrases that you hear with retargeting and search retargeting and site retargeting and income and interest and car buying propensities and all this stuff. This is all the data, massive, massive data that's collected that is not being utilized correctly. Let's go down here. So just know what that term is, and even if you hear the term unstructured data, question it because you'll hear it, but it's not really necessarily what you need with unstructured data. Now, audience segmentation, really, I define that really just means group. The vast majority of marketing today is really programmatic marketing, as I described right down here. It is really like day trading. This is what advertising has gone to. Even if you're geofencing, even if you're doing search and site retargeting and all that stuff, it really requires calculations, massive computers with calculations that need to generate the right message to the right person at the right time. So I'll talk to you more about that later. There's been a lot of scrutiny on this. You can read about what arbitrage is, okay, and why there's been investigations. But because the technology is so new, there's a new form of arbitrage that's going on that is not being reported, and there is no auditing of agency data that really lets you know whether or not you're being charged the right amount. That's one problem. The other problem is, are you getting the results that you need? And more than likely, you're not. Even though it looks like you are, it's easy to change it. So let's go on right real quick. The dynamic or custom. The one thing I want you to focus on here is the mom's phrase. You see, the way data works today, 90% of the agencies are sticking this person in the new mom segment. They may not be a new mom. It could be a grandmother buying a gift. It could be a friend buying a gift. They don't have access to the data as to what made them go into the new mom segment. And so they're only getting half of the picture. That's what I want you to realize. You need something that builds custom audiences on the fly. And I'm going to show you what that is as we move on really quickly, because it's the difference between day and night. So you need to break that box of audience segmentation and actually create your own custom audience. It cannot be a defined audience, which 90% of the people are doing. And that's what we want to talk about. You create your own segment. It needs to be dynamic, which means constantly changing. It needs to be in real time. And it's absolutely a day and night difference. Just read about it here. If your advertising doesn't do it, you really have to cancel it. Now, we'll show you a way that you don't have to cancel it all. We can do an A/B test really quick. So here's the difference between traditional audiences and regular audiences. This is basically just a chart. Now, 90% of the people are right over here. This is not where you want to be. You want to be over here. But there's also custom strategies in here that you need to adhere to as well. So what is a custom audience building? That's just kind of only two ways you can do it. 90% of the people are not doing it, but there are different strategies when you do it. Now, these next two slides are simply all the different categories that you can create your own custom audience with and/or logic, which is just incredible because that's what you want. And I'll give you an illustration on this, and then we're done. I know it's kind of hard to follow, but when you're talking about programmatic and how unique the capability is, again, don't be afraid to ask your agency whether or not they are providing this. They are usually using a person or a player, and there's only three ways to do it: buy it, build it, or borrow it. For the companies who are buying it, are building it. For the companies who build it, they often don't sell to you. They rent it out or they lease it to agencies who like to pretend that it's theirs, but it's not. Don't be afraid to ask where they're getting this. Because when you have the right solution, it's far more effective, it's far more accurate, and it needs to have the right strategy. And then we're almost done here. But what you want to, here's a good comparison I want you to focus on. If you ran a pizza delivery service, would you pay more to advertise to a person locked into a pizza lover segment? Or do you want to know somebody who searched for pizza delivery in your zip code 2 seconds ago? Now, what programmatic proper marketing with unstructured data does, and I know that's a mouthful, but this creates a custom audience segment of people who just searched for pizza delivery 2 seconds ago. So how often does that segment change? Every 2 seconds. Okay, because that, in other words, your custom group is everybody searching in your zip code 2 seconds ago for something that's exactly related to what you need to act on pretty quickly. Otherwise, they may go to a competitor. This is why so few marketing solutions offer this, because if once this is set up, you don't need them anymore. You can save a lot of commissions, but your results are tremendous because you actually have a dynamic group that's hitting people when they need it, right at the time they need it. That's what, right down here, this is what advertising is all about, but that's not necessarily what some of the agencies want you to know. Now, real quick in data transparency, and we're done. This is just going to bring you the truth to advertising. You really need to focus on here, right here on, you want everything drilled down to the individual data element level. You don't want to be stuck necessarily in groups. You need dynamic things that absolutely change in real time down to each individual impression, and massive crunching of this data that does all of this automatically, and we can do that for you. The idea is just contact me. We'll review whether or not you're spending too much. We can review the results. There's ways to test it. I just look forward to talking to you. Sorry it took so long. Thank you very much for your time. Hope to talk to you later.